Okay. Good night. Good evening to those who are now joining. Share the live. Dr. Matthews is in the house. Share the live. Good evening as you come in. Share the live. Good evening to you all, to those who are now joining. Share the live. Good evening to those who are now joining. Share the live. I'll take another minute before I start. Share the live. Okay, share the live. Share the live. As you're now coming in, share the live. Tonight we will talk with each other. Share the live. Share the live as you come in. Share the live. Okay. So I think I have enough to start. Let's start the show. Good evening to you all, those who are now joining. Good evening from Guyana to the Caribbean Isles, to the Pacific, to the West Indian Isles, to the Pacific Isles, to the British Virgin Isles, to the US Virgin Isles, to the Maldives, to Mexico, US, Canada, UK, EU, China, Beijing, Hong Kong, and all of those in the Asian terrain, Tajikistan and Uzbekistan, to Japan. Good evening to you all, especially those from the Australian continent and the New Zealand Isles and the Tonga Isles. To those who are now joining me from the African continent, whichever part you may be, good evening or good afternoon or good morning to you, whichever part of the world. On the South American continent, as far as Chile and Argentina, and Venezuela, Colombia, Brazil, Suriname, French and Dutch Guyana, to the Netherlands, to Curacao, to all those who I haven't remembered, especially that guy in Greenland who hit me up the other night and he said, I want you to know that I'm still looking at you from here. Good night to you all. To those who had missed the continued coverage through the week of the Gavin Matthews show, the GMS Live, I must tell you that at the ending of every month, I find it a little difficulty, especially now, in completing all the bills that surround my life and the show. And the reason why I'm saying so is because although I run the show, it doesn't be halfly or fully financed by others. Most of the time it's by Gavin Matthews. Those who pitch in, I thank God for them because they are thinking of Gavin Matthews. And to those who didn't, it's okay. But I kind of make choices that may have, at the end of some time or the other, cause some inconvenience because people are accustomed to seeing the Gavin Matthews show. But when my bills is more than me, hold on. Yes, so when my bills are more than me, I kind of like take a break until when I complete or finish paying most of those bills. So for the week that you haven't seen me, I was on that verge of getting certain things completed. Not all of them are fully completed, but that's the way it goes. Gotta make sacrifices sometime or the other to have things done so people can gain the kind of information that they need. And also, just hold a minute for me, please. Yes, I think the camera's back up. I just realized it wasn't. So I'm happy to be here this evening. To those who continued financially in supporting the Gavin Matthews show, I'm very much appreciated. But this month end was it's still a tough month end for me. And those who would like to, contribute, I'd be very much appreciated because that's one of the main reasons why I wasn't on for the couple of days. Even tonight, I wasn't supposed to be on because I haven't completed most of the things that I have. But since we covered that topic, let's start this evening's brawl. Since tonight is Friday night, and usually I normally have Friday nights secured for my supporters, the people who would log in and support the Gavin Matthews show by their presence on the show. I'm still securing you have a call in time where you can call and talk. But tonight we're going to talk about the PPP's distraction politics. I don't know since when nobody wants to talk about the distraction politics because they feel when they talk about it, they give them some kind of advantage over them. But this is what the PPP likes to do. So whether you don't want to reveal their distraction politics style, you want to keep it with you because you feel some or the other, you categorically, when you want to strike, they mustn't be able to know. Believe you me, let me tell everybody who looking at the show now, The PPP has moles. So does the AP and UPNC, AFC. They have moles. PPP might got more than them. And what do I mean by moles? Moles is when you plant people like yourself into the enemy's territory, so you can always keep abreast of what the enemy is planning to do you. That's what I call moles. So whether or not you categorically doesn't want to expose yourself as a general so the people can know exactly what you're doing by the continuous report of their moles, that's a political game that I don't have patience with. I don't play patience. Neither I do got patience either with the policies of politics. So what we're having here for discussion tonight is about the PPP's distraction politics via a way of what you call an entertainment culture. Why do I want to bring up this topic tonight? I figure out that we still needs to be formally educated about what's going on in our land. You know, I look at what I do. I do this for free. Not a soul in asks or offer me a penny to do what I do. Some people support financially. Some people support materially. But me, Gavin Matthews, decide to get up and start talking. Started investigating. Helping people to know the facts and the truth on the ground. And don't depend upon some fly-by-night person to tell you a complete lie. So what I did, I picked myself up and decided to educate the nation. Helping the nation to know what is it and what is going on. If you would have listened to the radio today, the PPP is back again. They talk about $25,000 extra to the old age pensioners of their $25,000 that they're getting. That's fine. That's very good. Every government, that's their position. That's not a political position. That's a position of a government to continue looking after the people. They're nothing big in there. That is their position. Of the AP and you come in, it's the same thing they got to do. They got to find strategies and ways in looking after the people. That is what they're being paid to do. And the monies that they're giving out is taxpayers' money. That's what you do with tax. That's what you do with taxes. When you collect taxes, you find eligible way of distributing this tax so people can enjoy the benefits of it. And what are those? Proper housing, proper utility like roads, water, lights, proper salary, employment. That's what taxes does. The more people pay tax, is the more better off the government of the day is, because the government depends upon taxes to maneuver itself. But this is the distraction politics. I give a little but take more of it. That's the trickery. And how do they do that? Let me show you, for instance. I can pick on the private sector. This is what is happening in Indiana. Remember the other night I talked about the $20 million businessmen we got in this country, 20 million US dollars. A lot of people didn't really understand what I was talking about. So I can break it down into syllables tonight. Guyana is facing what you call an economic downturn by employment. And I'm going to tell you the reason why. Here was the reason that the Guyanese business community or the private sector is facing a hardship in this country pertaining to the oil and gas sector. There is what you call a massive, how should I put it over? A massive influx of Trinidadian workers coming to Guyana. They're coming from Trinidad, they're coming from Venezuela, they're coming from Suriname, they're coming from Brazil. These people are coming from these countries to work in the oil sector. You have Dominicans who are here, who are working in that sector and also in the entertainment sector. But yes, and they have Haitians and they have other people who are here. But here was the problem. 90% of our local businessmen in this country are people with questionable characters. Here was the problem. A man get $10 million or he get $5 million and he intend to invest in it. Somewhere along the line, while investing in it, he realized that monies have been taking too long to come. So he preferred a quicker way of cash, which is called the illegal and illicit activities. I hope people are looking can understand what I'm saying. So when the illegal and illicit activities is now on the move, you find there is a growth of business, because this is what strengthens the structure of the private sector community in this country. Illegal and illicit activities strengthens the structure of the private sector industries in this country. I'm going to show you the reason why I said so. Now you have a macro firm like Exxon who's taking on subsidiaries, other oil giants, to come and to work under them. Because the reason why I'm saying so, because Esso Exploration and Production Guyana Limited, which is I talked about this EEPGL. They are so big that it's been controlled by Exxon. Now, Exxon has other people coming under that umbrella, as you call subsidiaries. Any oil company you see here right now working for Exxon or under them. So here is the kick. You have other industries in the oil market are coming here now to seek other opportunities and enjoying the benefits of the 70 million US dollars per day extraction from our offshore explorations. So people are coming here now to expand in the exploration. But because Guyana has no local content, to employ Guyanese now becomes a problem. No, it doesn't become a problem, it becomes a very fast, easier thing to work with. Since we ain't got no local content, and we ain't got nobody experiencing the oil field, neither workers, we can take advantage of the situation. So what happens now Let me do this nice pass. What happens now? The de facto administration decide to bluff the way and kick off to make people feel that they're representing us, Decide to attack the industry and say, hey, you're not involving our local companies. So let me show you the secret now. They decide to open up their arms and welcome the private sector commission. But here is the problem. Because Exxon is America. When I mean America, United States of America. It is more than 60% owned shareholders by the government of the United States of America. So it's whenever you're done as a U.S. company, belongs to the United States of America, that's the state. That's the country. Because they control the fluctuation of currencies and businesses around the world, when our local businessmen decide to approach the U.S. chambers of commerce that are locally attached here to involve themselves in that piece of conglomerate that you see happening off our shores, the U.S. said, we ain't got a problem. Come, let me see where you got so we can involve you in the economic structure so you can grow economically. Here is one of the requirements. One of the requirements is that you must obey the financial structural laws in your country. And we got one of the main ones that all of them businessmen running from. Financing anti-terrorism. What's the other one? Hold on, I can remember just now. And Money Laundering Act. Financing Anti-Terrorism and Money Laundering Act. Or Financing Terrorism, and Money Laundering Act. That's one of the laws. So you got to obey the law. So here was the first thing you got to do. You got to declare your structural business outset. That means that how much you worth a business via way of asset and via way of liquid cash. When you declare that now, you have to state how did you accumulate so much money over a period of time. Hey, Gavin, you're too smart. You're like a smartphone. Oh my God. So here is the problem now. We got serious problems. Apparently, like the local business sector, these Guyanese businessmen like the rat could only invest in Guyana. You ever wanted to know why we don't have a lot of businesses that are investing in exportation than importation? You always wonder why? Why the exportation market is so small. It's less than 1%. Than goods and services that are being exported from Guyana to the different countries around the world. You ever wonder why? Because certain countries saying, well, once you're selling your products to our country, we can accept it, but we gotta know the kind of people you're doing business with. You gotta declare your assets, your financial capabilities and resources. And when you do that, you have to state how did you accumulate such finances over a period of time. So here is the problem now. These men can't go past 20 million US dollars. Matter of fact, as soon as they arrive at 20 million US dollars, it raises eyebrows. From this, as soon as you say you get 15 million, eyebrows are being raised. Because you know why? It's impossible for you to declare such wealth per annum when 60% of the working population in Guyana actually is a reseller. They are resellers to the resale market. 60%. So by how you getting all this money for turn around by? You ever wonder why certain politicians are very quiet? When these big bad people, I can show you a simple example. I saw me Gavin Matthews and I send it for me show. So nobody gonna say I wait and this and that. I send for me. I saw a public taxpayer's vehicle, which is a car that is assigned to the police force. It has doom lights. It is sprayed into the color of the Guyana Police Force colors, which is blue and white. Carries the emblems escorting a particular vehicle every day that parks on Lambert Street in front of the building of Mohammed. Every day, the police car is parked at the side of the building because I gotta come to town and I gotta see. When I see these things, I started questioning it. This is every day. And if the police vehicle is not escorting it, that vehicle is equipped with spider lights. It means the blue and the red or whatever it is called it. And a siren equipped, blowing coming through, and people got to drive out of the way so that particular vehicle can pass. Now, I don't know who's the driver of it, but I know it parks in front of Mohammed's enterprise every single day. Every single day. That's my vehicle. I'm talking about the police car, I'm talking about the black vehicle. Why it becomes my vehicle? Because I'm a taxpayer, I pay taxes. So the policemen can have proper vehicles to drive around. And the police personnel, the law enforcement personnel is driving that vehicle belongs to me also too. Because as a taxpayer, I pay taxes so he can have a salary. I'm not paying taxes for no private individual drive around and show off themselves. Point taken. Here is the other thing now. Business people in this country are so heavily invested in the illegal and illicit activity and trade in this country that it makes it hard for them to identify themselves. Let me tell you something. Guyana Airways went into a resale, I don't know for what reason, and they had two sisters from the Maikoni area decided to invest in Guyana Airways. Everybody was so happy. You know why that investment did not went through completely? The Americans are so strict that once you got flights coming out of Guyana on a carrier that is only invested in two sisters that belongs to the same family and not a public-owned company that other people are invested in, it is the reason why it is now operating. The question was asked, how did you accumulate such amount of money? Y'all get where I'm coming from? Y'all now see why that the private sector is so heavily invested into this de facto administration that they would prefer to have them than the APNU AFC, because you know why? They don't want accountability. They had accountability for 5 years in a complaint. The amount of taxes they had to pay, they wanted to do that. Taxation is too much. Because as long as you have a $300-400 million empire being turning over every year, you gotta pay taxes on it. And because some of them ain't got the cerebral capacity, or some of them do not have the faculty in that particular field, means educated in that particular field, that when they hear they got to pay so much money worth in taxes, they say, it's the wrong people we got here. Why do I pick on the private sector? Because the private sector is what is propping up this disease of a government that is killing out its people. And we don't know. We're not paying attention. It's all about distraction politics. That is what it's all about, distraction politics. Here was the problem with the $900 million US investment to the oil to shore program. They can't borrow the money from the Bank of Guyana because the Bank of Guyana does not have the kind of money to invest the $900 million US dollars, or much less the balance of the money. These two businessmen that they got, and it says local businessmen that are investing, or three of them as a matter of fact, if you put 10 of them together, they still can't make up 100. They still can't make up 100 million US dollars. So now they're using the de facto administration to go through a bank, a particular bank, Republic Bank, to try to accumulate the financial resources for this macro investment. Mind you, it is not 900 million Guyana dollars. It's 900 million US dollars. We're talking about billions and billions and billions of Guyana dollars we're talking about. We're talking about more than 3 trillion Guyana dollars. Now here was the problem now. How can such an investment, and we sit down so quietly, them financial culprits that we got in this country, that especially the one we name, I remember he named just now, Scatterfire. He got such an accountability. As a matter of fact, he's a lawyer. He's a financial lawyer. And nothing is coming out of his mouth. How can two men accumulate such money that is more than 3 times the worth of the Guyanese economy? Our economy right now is 300 million Guyana dollars. It's 3 billion. 3 billion Guyana dollars. And we got two businessmen who's shaping up to involve themselves in a 900 million US dollars, which has been supersized the fact that it's far beyond the Guyanese economy. Now tell me something. I know fool, I ain't Pptp. Have you given this a thought before you decide to do it, Mr. Ashni Singh, who is the senior minister within the office of the president in charge of finance, not the ministry, but the office of financial affairs, because we don't have a ministry of finance anymore. Have you ever given it a thought before you put it out there? Because the government of Guyana automatically invests themselves in these two businessmen so they can award them a 900 million US dollar contract. Here is the thing. Why y'all listen to me? Nobody talking it? Fine. We got a problem. This is such gross disrespect. And when they leave now to go to talk about that particular investment, because automatically they're seeking investors to come invest in that 900 million US dollar. That's what they're doing. Don't you think that these questions would be asked? It's already being asked. How can you award a 900 million US dollar contract to two businessmen in particular that are questionable characters? They don't even have the assets to surpass the 3 billion Guyana dollars economy. One man take $1 million US dollars. No, sorry, 5 million US dollars and invest it in an island to make it a tourist available attraction. Had a lot of questions asked about it. It's hard for him now to show how can he accumulate back this money from an economy that's not tourist attracted, from an economy that has less than 450,000 working force, and out of that working force, 60% of them are retailers. How is the money turning around? You got a lot of broke men walking around this place right now, you know. They invested heavily in the past elections because I had to get money. 35 million US dollars worth. And they're struggling to find back that money. So the puppet masters, which is the US and Canada, are playing their games as usual. Left Britain out, because Britain don't get vexed with them. I don't know about the Biden government, but they say changes are coming. I don't know when. To those who are now joining, share the live, because this is an important topic. If you do decide to call, don't change the topic. Call upon the topic. As a matter of fact, I had a friend that I had to talk to. But before I go on to calling him, I'm going to complete most of what I wanted to say tonight. Now, we're having serious problems with businessmen now saying they want to represent Guyana, but they cannot state in a single financial statement. Listen to me, let me show you how bad the U.S. Chambers of Commerce office with the wrong Guyana, bad. From since you shape up and you say you want investment, they're applying to GRA to supply them with information based upon your company, your business pertaining to taxes that you would have gained. That's the problem. We got multi-billionaires running around this place driving fancy cars. Oh my God. Building these big tall buildings. These boys investing big time. But they can't give accountability for the assets that they have. They can't. They can't give accountability for the assets they have. Don't matter how Ashley twist it or turn it, or the rat twist it or turn it, accountability is what is the most effective thing. Did you know that's the reason why the previous Minister of Finance and the president of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, then David Granger, and the Minister of Finance. You know the reason, that's the reason why they had to hand over all extracted sources and materials, the monies that are gained from that, to the Sovereign Wealth Fund Committee. Because they knew what was coming. They saw it, and they saw an advantage to privilege Guyana. Because they know none of these businessmen with their ace can shape up tomorrow and say, well, okay. Not even the Biharis can't even do it. You're telling you? The two major, hold on, wait. You give two businessmen this $900 million contract. And the two major king families, three of them. The Biharis, the Gafurs. You know, it could include Mohammeds, the Mohammeds. Who else? No, I didn't be key. It could add in the Kesuns, if you want. You put four of them together combined with their assets and wealth. For that $900 million US contract, they still can't meet 50%. Because that's part of the requirement before you approach an international banking system to acquire the loans. Remember, this African guy who's sitting here, me brains in drop to sleep, wide and well awake, focused. You know why I choose this topic tonight? Because now we're left with a people that are predominantly black, or to use the adjective black, but are predominantly Afro-Guyanese. We are now the majority in this country because the PPP's constituency has left. And the East Indians that are left back here, most of them who supports the coalition, most of them who don't really like the PPP. You understand? And they're trying to do something good for themselves. But the PPP know that, the Pptp knows that they don't hold the majority votes in this country anymore. It doesn't matter if they bring 2 million Venezuelans. You still don't hold the majority because you don't know who the Venezuelans want Essequibo. They want Guyana, they want Essequibo. Because it's been taught that by their government. The US government so disrespectful and nice past week gave $1 billion Guyana to the de facto regime to create a little spot in Region 2 so we can have a Venezuelan community monitored by the US government, the US embassy, so they can give attention to those Venezuelan refugees in this country. And they ain't give Guyana none. Not a thing. Oh, no, I'll reframe the statement. Somebody get him $1 million the other day. Come to 200 million something change. Yeah, to get the money the other day. I know, so I didn't really know who to get it from. Because my mind wasn't focused on that. My mind is focused on what is going on now. But here was the problem. The $900 million contract got real problems, you know, friend. It got enough problems. Right there, it got enough problems. It got enough problems. Because when they combine those two crooks' assets, they can't meet up. They can't meet up with them assets at all. Their financial strength that they got can meet at least 450 million US dollars, which is half of 900 million. Because they got to state where they're getting it from. And if you got to add all of them in this country together with a $20 million declaration US, they still can't meet up 450 million. So it's scratching my head because I really want to know where they're getting this money from. That is why the only way to treat Guyanese and to change their culture is to take away their pride and joy, which is the supreme law of the land, the Constitution. When they take away our Constitution, we're open to everything. We can't do nothing to represent ourselves. As a matter of fact, then when Bart was president, he used to proper tear the tail. You know how much people dead for the particular reason, and you know how much people now are going to die for the kind of reason. It's already happening. It's shaking its ugly head. They don't want us to know that we know the majority. Yeah, I don't bring statistics. Both parties know that we're the majority now. Because the mass exodus has happened between those of the East Asian descent. They left this country because of brute force terror administered by the Pptp party or the Barjackdio's government then. Terror! They pick up and beat out this country, friend. That's the constituency that they say that they claim and they own. That's why they couldn't win Region 3 parts of Essequibo, because most of them islands are now vacated. It's empty. You got enough empty lots on Hog Island, Wakenham. All them islands you could think about got people living on it are predominantly vacated. And people are staying back in Guyana for do nothing with this country. We strike oil and they're supposed to line up by the millions, there's hundreds of thousands of them out there, to come back home. It's the other way around. It's just a month ago, the immigration services, that part of the police force, had to issue an order. It's only 100 persons per day that they're looking after pertaining to passports. 100 persons per day. And every day, you're seeing them. I was just surprised to pass by the other day and I see nobody at 10 o'clock in the morning. I said, what? They don't issue all them passports? And people in stay wrong to beat out. That's what is happening. So they want to create within our minds an epiphany to say to us, y'all ain't got choice. We got rule y'all now. Why think air fraud, the dunce, went at the UN and talk his stupidness, went in Mexico and talk his stupidness, but preparation. Talk for black people. Because the report they got to present to the to the United Nations is based upon the statistics of the population, which is now predominantly Afro origin, Afro-Guyanese. How you think they can win an election? After 2011, they knew, the PPP knew that they could never win an election. Barajagdio knew that he couldn't contest it. Not even his family not even coming back to Guyana. They ain't coming back for vote, they ain't even coming back for swing. This was going on. So we got the $20 million businessmen. We can't give we can't even give an accumulation to how much assets. You can imagine. Each bank, let me show you, let me break this thing down into, because some people don't really understand. Each bank could only have cash on hand to deliver out every day, nothing less or more than $100 million. Each bank. You combine all of them banks together, they gotta give report to the governor of the Bank of Guyana. Buy got more money here so that I could hardly that the structure of the bank sitting on. Because these businessmen got hundreds of millions of dollars that they didn't even print the money yet fit. It ain't black and white, but they print the money yet fit. In order to print the money, they got to circulate. And this is what people don't understand. The more the population of a country is, the larger the circulation of this currency. That means more taxes. Now, when you come into government with your lawless self and send home 3,000 people, there's 3,000 people as pay as you earn. There's 3,000 people as pay 3.5% on allowances. There's 3,000 people are paying 14% worth in VAT, value-added tax, when they go to the supermarket or to the store. That's a lot of money lost there. And it's keep losing money too. So if all these people is at home now, how do you accumulate such finances to declare that you have $900 million, no, that you put out there $900 million contract? Your banks can't even lend the two local investors. They can't lend nothing in exceeding of 100 million because they gotta go to the bank again for the money. None of your private banks can lend out the kind of money because they don't have it. They don't have the assets to accumulate such. And if they go externally to borrow it, the people who are there externally knows that the banks cannot come to borrow money in hold on. I drink another sip of this water. This conversation getting sweet. Let's drink another sip of this water. If a publicly owned company like Gaisuku can't even borrow can't borrow $3 million US from the Bank of Guyana, they gotta go overseas to borrow it. They went to the Bank of Jamaica that lent them $900 million since 1999. They went to the Bank of Jamaica and lent them $9 million US. All right, hold on. I still can't pay them up to now. The government of the day, with a white elephant, they built in Skeldon, the Skeldon factory, couldn't find more than $400 million US to borrow from the bank. Or $400 million, sorry. 400, I don't know if it's US dollar or Guyana dollars. 400 million Guyana dollars. Not yes. To build that factory, they had to take NIS money that belongs to the people of this country to accumulate such funds. They can go to the banks for it. They couldn't go to the banks for it because the banks had the kind of collateral to lend them. Now the banks end up in problems due to the APNU AFC government. Can you remember that financial audit that they had with Mr. Sharma that exposed the $250 million and the $18 million account, secret account that they found this money stash. I think they get in problems. They could not keep that money in its system. They had to invest that money externally. But because of the government of the day, when banks have asked the government to investigate these private banks pertaining to them kind of $50 million money, it becomes a problem. Because the government, they're waiting for up to now, they were waiting for the PPP government to respond. The government changed, the then government respond, they get to understand what's going on, and all these banks fall into problems. Because you're hiding more than 15 million US dollars, which is 2-3 times more than the economy, the budget. True, it's like 400 times more than the budget. So they're trying to tell the world that it could pass a $3 billion budget, which is about $15 million, because every 5 million US is a billion. So they could tell the world, but here was the problem now. They pass a $3 billion budget, but Ghana Revenue Authority and all the tax agencies in accumulation cannot run past $2 billion worth in Ghana currency in expenditure. So how you could pass a budget that you know the country's unable to give back to you? You understand with these criminals sitting on point, you know, and sharing out this money. But when you're sharing this money out, you gotta show accountability for it. This is why everybody now is succumbing to Guyana, to stifle. They can't move. They're trying to move mountains to get their hands on that money that's in the Sovereign Wealth Fund that sits at the New York Central Bank in the United States of America. That's where it sits, gaining weight. This is why they're saying when you're coming out to borrow this money, you can't borrow nothing exceeding your budget, because you got to show taxes how you're paying back this money. You see how the left tie up with a hand and a foot? But these people ain't telling you these things. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Mr. Jordan spends his time to explain certain things to people. Mr. Winston Jordan. And I commend him for it. Because he wants Guyanese to become educated what went on then and what's going on now. Oh, we didn't know that? Yes, we got all them billions of hundreds of millions of US dollars right now. We must got $1 billion US dollar right now in the account. Yeah. It's a hush thing. Nobody want to know that they got them kind of money sitting down in their account. But you know why they can't borrow them kind of money? Because our economy is not that large. So the people stifling us force us to pass an anti-terrorism and local money laundering act. And all these clauses involved in it. The means if Guyana wants to rise, we got to show how we rise in. We got to show clean businesses. When they're more corrupt more than we got to show clean businesses. Our businessmen got to show accountability. So they call them stakeholders. Here was the problem with them becoming stakeholders now. They could only become stakeholders in their own country. They can't go there and represent us. This is why people had time with them. When we went to the oil expedition in Texas, people had time with them. People must sit down and laugh, watch. You bring one, you bring one who can't read. No, you don't for real, right? You bring one who is a convict. And you walk with a set of them. Not for them in this country can't read and write. Enough of them. Enough business owners, when you brackle them and they tell them about Anti-Financing Money Terrorism Act law, they want to cry out the amount of taxes they got to pay to free themselves from being prosecuted under that act. They keep themselves to themselves. I think the Wawaga Giflan trying to apologize a million times over because you know why? He realizes black people is going to give you the kind of money looking for when the day come. He realized that. So he suddenly changed him out. He opened the doors. He ain't asking for the COVID card no more. He could walk straight in. Because the people who got the spending power is people like me. We like we fancy clothes. We like we big sweet. We like the fast food. We like all these things. So the place that's selling it, once it's stifling, we ain't gonna go buy it. So they open up back. Now we can talk about the cultural change now. They want us to remain just like that in the entertainment culture. They don't want us to be educated. They don't want us to know that we are now the power group in this country. I don't know about the opposition, but I can tell you all. Government choosing to sit down and pretend that this is stupidness. This is what is available to us now as a people. So now we got Guyana, who's trying to expand and expand, laughing at because the minute this de facto administration put anything out there, it becomes a scrutiny. You see what they're talking about now? Every day, whole day on the news, they're talking about $25,000 we got to get pensioners for this October month. That's the only good thing to talk about. The failed Minister of Health, that's what he is, trying to apply through them. They say we call themselves government, so the ministry can get financial help to assist. And by say I should take $1 million and see what happens. Time coming. When that time has arrived, a lot of us gonna think twice. Hold on. Call my goodly friend so I can involve him in this conversation because apparently, trying to get people to call in. But the time is running out and I need to have him because he had asked me. And I said, okay, no problem. So while that phone is ringing, I'm waiting for him to answer it. If he does, I'm letting you know. We got to be serious in this place.
Yeah, my brother, what's happening?
This is GMS Live, the voice of democracy. This is Mr. Matthews calling you. You're on live. Here is the discussion. The discussion is the financial inability for our businessmen to accumulate financial loans elsewhere. It's a PPP distracting politics. I think I lost him. All right, good. If there's anything, you may call back. Yes, he's calling. Yes. I think it's a connection problem. It's showing. Yeah, good night to you again.
Hey, Matthews, what's happening, man?
Yeah, I brought this topic up because I know you're well versed. I know you're well versed in it. It's your background. This is what you studied. It's based upon finance. It's simple financing. The thing is that a contract was awarded for $900 million to build an oil to shore platform between two businessmen who doesn't even have the amount of monies to accumulate in order to borrow that extra to meet that $900 million contract before the government could have paid it out. You understand? That's one. Number two, It is like 300 times more than what the budget is. So I'm trying to phantom in my brains how.
The APN you had proposed 400 million. Uh-huh.
But they give out the 900 million. You know, you know why I believe that? Because each businessman can't go past 20 million Ghana dollars because he has to give 20 million US dollars. Because the minute he does that now, he has to show accountability externally. How did his business accumulate this money in Guyana? Which we know that 60% of our working force are at the resale market. So I'm trying to function a little bit. So help me out here. A bit, please. Very much appreciated. Like you hearing me?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, are they businessmen from the United States, or are they financing this 900 million, which is approximately $1 billion? Is it US dollars?
It's US dollars. It's US dollars I'm talking about.
Yeah. Is it? Are these US businessmen operating in Guyana?
No, 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 no. It's two local businessmen. Two local businessmen.
Hello,
You hear me?
Catherine.
Are you hearing me?
Are these US businessmen operating from the US in Guyana? Or
No,
these
no,
businessmen
no.
operating
This
in
is
Guyana?
this is Guyanese businessmen operating in Guyana.
Okay. And now another question I want to ask: this 900 million, that's 900 million US or Guyana money?
900 million US dollars.
Okay. Okay. So that's 900 million US. That's almost $1 billion.
Yep.
That's more. That's more than the GDP for about the last decade.
Far more.
That's more than Guyana's GDP in the last 10 years.
If Guyana take nearly 30 years to pay 200 million US in debts.
Where does that money come from?
Why is a good question.
Firstly, you would ask, that money has from you would try to find out who is this individual partnering with. Who are his silent partners? Because I would think that he or she would have a silent partner. So you would be able to see who the silent partner is if you go to the courts or do some sort of audit. Now, the United States government, I would think a U.S. lender would be involved in this in the background somewhere.
Yes.
More likely than not. So then we would need to do an audit on those persons to find out where they are getting their monies from. Right? Because we can logically assume that a Guyanese cannot find $1 billion US dollars.
No way. You put all of them this. Even if you put the top three, the Biharis and the Kisuns and the Gafurs, they still can't come up with 900 million
US. So then the next question is, that money is coming from somewhere else.
Of course.
Do you remember when the United States was pressuring the Guyanese government to sign the anti-money laundering bill, and they didn't want to sign it? I think President Granger signed it.
Yes, Granger signed it.
So in that bill, there is a way to find out who is doing what.
Of course.
Tracing the money.
Of course.
If you read that, good. So in that bill, if a person was to read that bill, they would be able to find some ways in asking some questions as to where this money comes from. There has to be accountability under that money laundering bill. either from the United States or in Guyana. Another point, we can logically assume that the money is coming from the United States. The United States has very, very strict laws. Anything over $3,000 has to be reported, sends up a red flag coming out of the United States. However, let me say in the United States, there is a law which allows the United States companies to invest overseas in overseas ventures that are over $1 million, and they get tax breaks for doing that. So this is under the assumption that this money is coming from the United States by additional investors, right? So there are many ways to ascertain the paper trail, right?
Mm-hmm.
So interested persons can say, well, look, we have reasons to believe that this money is very suspicious and we need to do some sort of, based upon a money laundering bill,
Yes.
we need to look up and see where this money is coming from. So by reading the money laundering bill in Guyana, we will be able to scrutinize. We'll be able to find out how we can scrutinize the person who mysteriously has gotten almost $1 billion. Where does a person get $1 billion? Here's how you start that. Show me where can a businessman in Guyana get $1 billion? Approximately $1 billion, because 900 million is approximately $1 billion US. And because we cannot ascertain, that creates reasonable question for us now to use the money laundering bill to scrutinize if this person has circumvent the money laundering laws to get this kind of money. You see? Because it is not likely that any single businessman can come up with almost $1 billion when the Guyanese government cannot find $1 billion in 10 years.
The Guyanese government can't even pass a budget for $1 billion because we don't even have the taxes to accumulate that kind of money.
Right? But you must.
Secret something as well.
That's my point.
I get your point.
So then, what does that say? So that says that there is reasonable suspicion to use the money laundering bill to ascertain how this person could get this kind of money and the government can't even get it. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The doubt. Now, so that's a good place to start. And then now, persons in the United States now could use the money laundering bill between the United States and Guyana from the United States Treasury Department, the United States Treasury Department, and the IRS, United States Tax Agency, can now ask questions. If this person has a United States visa and he's traveling to the United States and you've got $1 billion in Guyana, where did you get it from? If you've got $1 billion in Guyana, did you declare that amount of tax in the United States? Hello? If you have got $1 billion in Guyana, then show the Internal Revenue Tax Service of the United States where you have paid taxes for $1 billion. They would be very interested to find out. They would like to know. You see, all of this ties in to the money laundering bill because a lot of people are escaping through loopholes, and the American government would like to know. That is why they were pressuring Ramatar and Jagdeo to put this money laundering bill in place. So if this person is a frequent businessman in the United States, I'm pretty sure all you got to do is ask the proper questions at the IRS, the Internal Revenue Service, the IRS, the taxman. You see, there are two things that are guaranteed in the United States: taxes and death. Two things that say you can't escape. So once you let the dogs loose on a person who you have reason to suspect to be suspicious of, they go sniff every place that he's claiming he got the money from.
Yeah.
He gonna have to prove it to them. $1 billion, and you're in Guyana, and it's $1 billion US, and you visiting the US. Did you make this money in the US? Yes or no, sir? Did you declare this money in the US? No.
Oh my gosh, right. These conglomerates. I tell you what. But by the way though,
Yes, damn it.
by the way,
So
I just wanna let you wrap it up a bit because I just realized it's after 8. I just realized it's after 8, and maybe in another forum Monday I can invite you on again.
yes. Sure, call me anytime, man.
Okay.
And those persons in the United States can follow up.
Yep.
And especially if he's got a business in the United States. If he's got a business in the United States, they would love to know.
Ah,
You got $1 billion US.
$1 billion US?
They
Wow.
would love to see the paper trail. The IRS would love to see it.
They might think me and Manuel Noriego is friends.
Yes, you say.
By the way though.
But I guarantee you, anyway, I'll let you go, but they will be happy to talk with him.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
For him. There's a special number for guys like that.
Yeah.
Give them information, and they good. Take care.
Yeah. Stay safe and be careful. The reason why I invited my friend to talk upon this because that's his area of specialty, finance. And you know, it's amazing how I didn't call him first. I sat down and think this thing through before and do my investigation. I got some more investigation, but I bring it up piece by piece before I invited him to talk. And he said almost the identical things that I have said. But the only difference is he put it over in a more, professional form. I don't know much about that professionalism. I put it out a little raw. But keep your eyes on the ball. The PPP distraction politics is in play. They want to distract you. And while they're distracting you, to put these nice things in the papers, thinking that you would read past them. Because they got to publicly advertise them. Some people going to jail. I tell you that. This is Dr. Matthews saying thank you for being here. I want to encourage you to go still on the Gavin Matthews page and vote. Vote in a referendum. I would like for you to contribute to the GoFundMe so this process can start. To me, it's too long. We can have more votes. I need more votes. Please do go and vote. I want to say to you to stay safe, be careful, sanitize yourself, wear a mask. Don't forget the little ones you take into public places. This is Dr. Matthews saying good night. Cheerios for now.